It's space weather! If you're looking inward, you're looking at Venus. If you're looking at outward, you're looking at Uranus. Don't have your head up Uranus. Follow cosmology stuff, because it's very informative. Checking out the sun in 304 angstroms. Got a little bit of an active region rising here, right near the solar equator, as well as some significant filamentary activity. Some pretty energetic filaments dancing about on the eastern limb. Checking out 171 angstroms. You can see that active region. And once again, you can see the coronal hole on this view, because it's a deep one. Not sure what's going on with the magnetic connection. It looks like the magnetic connection is at the solar North Pole. We'll look at it momentarily. Here's this active region. Not a sunspot yet. Perhaps it has potential. Here's your magnetic fields, and this information coupled with the phi angle. It looks like we've had periodic connection with the northern coronal hole. But for some reason, this giant canyon-like coronal hole that's finally rotating off the face does not appear to have had any sort of long-lasting magnetic connection signal. So that's odd. Moving on to real-time solar wind. I don't always look at solar wind data, but when I do, I try to look at real-time solar wind data. Useless fact, view your stock quotes in real time also. Improve your life. All right, the BTBZ is very convergent on the 0 line. Phi angle is way up around 315, which is why we're talking about that North Pole coronal hole. Probably, I don't know, overpowering the central coronal hole. I have no other explanation. 18.38 protons per cubic centimeter. A lot of protons. 3 times as many as yesterday. And a small uptick in the speed also, as well as the temperature. Pretty interesting. Basically, we've got a lull in earthquakes. What's up with that? Is that new? A 4.7. A 4.7 off of Canada. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Anyway, let's look at 8 hours. Oh boy. It looks like the U.S. downgrade service is probably striking again. I don't know what's up with this. But if you watched 2 videos or 3 videos ago, I think, somebody from New Zealand, quote, posted, and they said that they felt that 6.1 from one end to the other of the island, and at that deep of a depth. I think that was downgraded. So, South Sandwich Islands, 5.0. Greece still rocking with a 4.9. There's those Canadian quakes, a 4.9 and a 4.7. Huh. Wonder how downgraded those were. 2 5.0s in the North Atlantic. Another 4.5 in Greece. 4.8 in Chile. So, what does that mean? That means California, that is San Francisco and North LA, remain at risk. Probably for about a, 4 or 4.5 magnitude. That's the official guess. 4 to 4.5. Moving on to the details of the space weather, which are interesting, especially in terms of the magnetic flux. X-ray flux is still quite flatlined. You can see the phi angles shifting around. Very odd that we don't seem to have a long-lasting connection with that central coronal hole. But this phi angle portion up here, that sure looks like the North Pole to me. All right, so the magnetometer, some crazy data there. We have been getting some perturbations to bring the KP index off of 0. I think it's given us the finger there. Is that what's happening? One of these kind of things going on? I think it's given us the finger. Anyway, you see the magnetometer has dropped to the lowest level it's been in quite a while. Well below 50 nanotesla there on both satellites. And the electron flux has massively dipped also, as it's been. So we're still looking for a higher spike in that magnetometer. Going to look at some other instruments in a minute. F2 ionosphere layer is looking pretty normal. There's your auroral forecasts. And keep in mind, those are forecasts, not observations. Let's look at cosmic rays, even though we're not at a particularly high alert. At least we're off of a 0 KP index at a 1. Here's Oulu in Finland. No real big spikes recently. And then we've got 2 Antarctic. Uh-oh, it's offline. It's offline, folks. Oh my gosh, stop the presses. Stop the presses and start the fear-mongering. The janitor probably tripped over the network cable. All right, so this one, no big spikes. Actually, there was a big dip in cosmic ray flux just an hour ago. Look at that. Big cosmic ray flux dip. Not really a big deal. That's probably just the KP index coming up. Now, keep in mind, these are not observations either. These are guesses based on other observations. But we do have some perturbations. They seem to be emanating out of this spot right here, as well as north central Canada on the north side. Let that play for a moment. Oops. All right. Here's a location of your planets if you're interested. Venus is starting to gain on Earth now. It's going to be very bright in the sky, especially when it gets out of that crescent formation. And I thought we had the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard. That's okay. It's not showing anything anyway. And anyway, to rehash, there's your magnetic lines. Actually, let's look at the disk in 193 angstroms here. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Another useless fact. Happy All Saints Day. All Saints Day is an answer by the Catholic Church to the pagan holiday of, Samhain, Halloween, whatever you want to call it. On your way to celebrating All Saints Day, don't drink. And if you drink, don't drive.